right, everyone. Hello, welcome back to the final webinar series for this semester. Today's Let's Talk is going to be wanting more than one degree, so kind of just continuing on your education. Our virtual webinar reminders. Obviously, as we all know, we are going to be recording throughout today's discussion, so please mute your microphones, and if you have any questions or concerns, please send it in the chat bar, and we'll be sure to hit on those at the end. All right, so today's presenters. So as you all know, I'm Amber. I'm the second year graduate assistant for psychology, as well as a second year master's in counseling psychology student. And beside me, I have Mrs. Akira. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I am Akira Kirkpatrick. I am the first year graduate assistant for the psychology department, as well as a first year master's in counseling psychology graduate student.
Okay. All right. So a little bit of the overview for today. We're going to kind of get into different things with obtaining higher level educational degrees. So the first thing we're going to talk about is knowing which route you want to take. And then we're going to talk about learning about higher education-based degrees that can be offered, also as well as certain certifications, and seeing the possible process for applying, as all schools are different. All right, so hey there. So you're thinking about obtaining more than one degree. That is awesome to hear. Did you know if you plan on obtaining more than one degree, you can go from a bachelor's to a master's to even a doctoral degree. You can even just do one or the other, depending on what your future career plans are. So with that, knowing your path, as mentioned before, there are different routes that you can take when it comes to obtaining more than one degree and furthering your education. By having an idea in mind on where you want to go, it can kind of help prepare for what you may need moving forward, whether that's to, get a master's degree or go and get the doctorate. It's good to know what you need to be prepared. So with that being said, the future is yours. So make of it what it fits for you. To even have the will and want to continue to education is such a huge thing. So be proud of yourself with wanting to take that life step a little bit further than you already have. I don't know about Akira, but myself personally, when I was finishing my bachelor's degree here at Robert Morris during the pandemic, I had no will on ever wanting to go back to school. I was done. I was through with it. But then I started working in the field. And although I very much loved what I was doing as a CRT, I knew I needed to do more. And as I am now wrapping up my master's degree here, I think I'm going to have to go get the doctorate. But I'll see.
So for me, I also kind of took like a pause after my bachelor's degree, but it wasn't because I didn't really know if I wanted to get a degree, another degree. It was more so just that I knew I needed a break in between. So, which is okay. So I guess my spiel will be that kind of pace yourself. Don't feel like you have to be in a rush. A lot of people think like, oh, I just have to hurry up and get done with school so I can, get to my real life or my real career and things like that. And just, especially in this field, you need to be careful and wary of burnout. So, don't set yourself up for failure. If you need to take a break, take a break. I took 2 years off before entering into the master's program, and I'm grateful for it. I got experience related to the field, but not necessarily in the field. And I got life experience and kind of had time to figure out who I was as a person, which has helped me not only as a person, but as a counselor.
Same here. It's nicely put. So different higher education routes you can take. So the most common ones that we know is obtaining a master's degree or obtaining a doctoral degree. A master's degree is designed to deepen career-oriented knowledge and skills. So basically, this is a shorter degree to obtain. It's mostly ranging from 2 to 3 years, whether if you're doing a straight-through program like RMU, where it's six consecutive semesters, or if you decided to go to a different school that has like the part-time option, so where you can take it at a slower pace. It just depends. It normally ranges between 36 to 54 credit hours, and it can be considered a stepping stool with moving into a doctoral degree. It's even needed for some schools to consider acceptance. So some schools, you need that master level degree to continue on with a doctoral degree. Sometimes some schools don't take a bachelor straight to a doctorate. But with that being said, the doctoral degree is a heavily research-based degree. This degree is basically designed to develop critical research, analytical, and writing skills in an effort to fill industry knowledge gaps. This is a longer degree to obtain. It takes about 5 to 7 years in length. It's between 58 and 120 credit hours, and there's normally a dissertation that has to be completed before moving on.
I will say also with the doctoral degree, a lot of that length can also just come from the fact that when people get to that level, they tend to be kind of going through major life changes. You tend to be at an age where maybe you're getting married, maybe you're having kids. So sometimes people will take a pause in their education to kind of, live. So that can also make it longer for you to get that degree.
Right. All right. So specifically with the higher level degrees geared towards psychology, master's degrees have a long array of options. So do doctorate, but kind of taking a look at the master's degree, you can do anything from clinical psychology to industrial, organizational, child and adolescent, counseling, educational, experimental, developmental, cognitive, social, health, behavioral in general. There's so many different options when it comes to obtaining a master's degree, specifically within psychology. Now, with the doctorate degree, it's a little different because you have the PhD, which is the study of philosophy, and then a PsyD, which is a study of psychology. So with the PhD, there are different branches that can be taken when in the means of studying philosophy. Whereas a PsyD is like more specifically geared towards that psychology route. So there's plenty of options between both besides pretty much the PsyD. The PsyD is just strictly psychology. So not only can you do like higher based degrees, you can also do higher based certifications that are geared towards psychology. It's good to be aware that some schools may offer different types of certifications that can be obtained. Some of them can be of the following: crisis-informed care for a diverse, globalized world certificate, another industrial and organizational certificate, postmaster certificate in applied behavior analysis, ABA, suicide and cyberbullying prevention, forensics, social and community, graduate certificate in online teaching, and like adolescent psychology. RMU specifically, we've been doing like different kinds of certifications, and it's not like a course-based certifications, but different kinds of training certifications. So our students recently had an event with PAR, Pittsburgh Action Against Rape, where we did a training with them, and if you completed it and stuff, you had the opportunity to obtain a certificate to show that you took the time to sit through the course, the lecture, kind of have questions and discussions. So although it's not a specific course where you obtain a certificate at the end of the course, you still have opportunities as such here, but it can vary between university and schooling and wherever you decide to go.
And just with gaining a higher degree in our field in psychology, it will come with continued education. Like Amber was talking about, some certifications will come. It's not like a course-based certification. It will come with attending an event, listening to a lecture, engaging in materials, and information and education being given to you in a limited amount of time. And that is something that you will continue to do throughout your career, even after you've gained all of your degrees and are licensed and practicing. You will continue to gain knowledge and education within this field.
Right. I mean, especially in the licensure route, if you stick with RMU and say get your LPC through us every 2 years, there's continuing educational things that need to be done to keep your licensure up to date. And there's a whole bunch of different classes that can be taken. You can do seminars. There's so many different options within that route of continuing education once you finish said degrees and or certifications. All right, so the application process. So typically, in common with us, I kind of compared other applicational processes to ours. It kind of depends. Like you will need like a certain GPA, a certain like resume, like your current resume. Oh my goodness, and you might need to write an essay on why you believe that you're fitting for their program. These are like the most typical requirements that are necessary. And some schools might have additional things, and some schools might even have an applicational fee, whereas some other schools don't. So for doctorate programs, there may need to be like an entry exam that would need to be taken, so like a GRE exam. There also may be a different set of requirements depending at which point you choose to start a doctorate degree. So if you're starting like after a master's program, you might have to provide information from your master's degree, or let's say if you go for a doctorate program that allows a bachelor's degree start in, you might have to have different requirements within that degree as well. And you might have to do that entry exam on top of that due to not having that master's level degree below. So specifically for RMU, you have to have an undergraduate degree in psychology or in a related field. You have to have a minimum of a 3.0 cumulative undergraduate GPA. You have to obviously do the graduate admissions application. You have to have a resume, an essay addressing the applicant's professional goals, your official undergraduate transcripts from all universities attended. There will be a personal interview. And they have a specific essay here that has a 500-word limit. Basically, it's addressing the questions of what kind of career or professional counseling are you interested in pursuing, and how did your interests develop? It's pretty easy. Right here is the information. I know it's rather small, but you can simply just go up online and type in RMU Master in Counseling Program, and this will come up, and you'll just send your essay to graduate admissions at rmu.edu. But it's pretty much similar across the board, depending on the degree you're going for. They're all looking for pretty much similar things within this sense. And like I said, some schools, you might have to do an entry exam, and you might have to give that fee. So with that, in conclusion, whatever path you may choose, make sure it's the path that best fits you. I can't even talk. Okay, you are taking a huge step for not only your career but for yourself, for your life, which is amazing. So make it worth your while. When it comes to choosing something like this, it is a really big step. You're not just going back to school. You're going back to school to further your knowledge and understanding in a field that is supposed to be best fitting for yourself. To do it just to do it is not really going to benefit you at the end of the day. If anything, it's going to make you unhappy and probably in a lot of debt. So whatever path you choose, make sure it is that best fit for yourself, because when you are doing it and when you're in it and you're moving along, you want to realize that it's worth your while. I mean, it is for me. It's insane to know that I'm graduating here in a few weeks, and it's insane to know I already have my life lined up after this. So I'm glad I made this decision, although I was very much sure I wasn't going to, but make it for you 100%.
Yeah, and I will say, even though I only am halfway through the program, and it's definitely a lot, can be overwhelming, and stressful at times. If I didn't actually like what I was doing, if I didn't actually want to be in this field and be a counselor, and do what it was that I was doing, I would it wouldn't be worth it. And it is worth it. A little bit of stress is worth the outcome for sure. So I agree with Amber. You definitely should make sure that whatever you choose to do, it's the right decision for you.
100%. I mean, something like this is not easy. It's not necessarily going to be a walk in the park, but if you're choosing something that you know is going to be your fit, all of the stress, all of the struggles, all of the worrying, it really does pay off at the end of the day to look back and see the progress you've made. Like 2 years ago, I was a completely different person than I am now, and to see where I've come from then is just, it's amazing. It's so nice to see that overall growth within myself and to be able to acknowledge that. Whereas sometimes even just doing a bachelor's degree is just like, okay, I did it, but it's really different when moving forward and continuing on. So, but with that, I'm going to stop presenting and recording.